Hi, Kayleigh-Ann. I have looked over your lesson plan and have some feedback for you. I'm going to be using the same rubric I gave you in class, and I'll just go down the rubric and look at each section. So starting right here at the top, we have elements and presentation. And this looks great. It's completed, and it's clear to me that you it's clear to me that you got the prior content knowledge from, from probably looking at the standards and thinking about kids, and that your new content knowledge is well aligned. The one thing I want you to look at as far as necessary materials go, because I was reading in your lesson plan, I noticed that you've got a projector and all the students are going to have laptops. So go ahead and list that in here. You want to make this elements of presentation kind of idiot proof, as it were. The morning you go into school and you're exhausted and you don't know what's going on, you can pick this up and go, okay, these are the things I need to get. Okay, so what you've got here is good. I just want you to add a little bit more into necessary materials, okay? All right, on to desired results. So I was really glad to see that you had narrowed yourself down to one specific evidence outcome. As you know, I don't recommend any more than that. And the thing that I look for in desired results is not just to see that your lesson plan aligns to the desired results, but more specifically, are you teaching students the skills they need to master this desired result? So telling students to make a digital media presentation is very different than teaching them how, and especially it's very different than teaching them how to do a digital media presentation to present understanding of findings. That's going to be, I'm going to show you where I want you to delve into this, because I don't think that your lesson plan is misaligned. I think that we need to go a little deeper into the direct instruction, okay? Your essential questions global are looking good. My criteria for those is to ask if real people talk about those questions outside of academia, and I think they do. Your essential questions for the content area are also well done because they align well with your lesson plan. And your students will be able to understand, I'm going to have you flip-flop a little something here. Your students will understand does not have to have the by clause. It can, so it's not like this is bad. But your students will be able to does have to have a by clause. So students will be able to research for digital media relevant to a presentation by making a group presentation, okay? The reason I'm so picky about those, because this is the thing that you're going to be writing up on the board, so that when the kids come into class, they know exactly what it is that you expect them to accomplish, before the next class or during this class or something like that. And this is, preparing for a group presentation is different than completing a group presentation. And it seemed to me like you wanted them to do the group presentation here, and possibly like complete it for homework, because I think you said you wanted them to present the very next class. So just tighten this structure up a little bit right here. All right, on to assessments. If you recall, not necessarily grading this section yet as much as I am looking for completion and alignment, and you meet both of those criteria here. So now on to the learning plan, the second page of the rubric, okay? So like I said, your learning plan I feel like is aligned to your evidence outcome, but it doesn't necessarily direct instruct as much as as much as tells the kids, right? You show an example of a PowerPoint presentation, you tell them to do a PowerPoint presentation, you tell them to find a graphic, but it falls short of establishing the criteria for the graphic, the criteria for a presentation, both the speaker and the PowerPoint slides themselves, things like that. So I'm going to show you some places where I want you to delve into that, all right? In your lesson plan, you are you misstepped on the engagement piece just a little bit here. You definitely gave them something that everyone's going to be successful at answering. But especially, because I think this was going to be your first lesson plan, even though we numbered it 2, right? I think you and I had talked about how lesson plan 2 is actually going to be the first lesson plan for the unit. You need that common human experience. This is the place where, especially with literature, it's going to be really fun. I want you to get creative. Think about the themes in the text and prime the kids to think about those themes, okay? So in the color purple, right, there's this reverence for life, There's women's rights. They discuss a lot of racism and abuse. There's just some pretty big, heavy topics that you could really prime the kids for thinking about. What you have primed the kids to do is think about um, just the just the title of the text, okay? Delve a little bit deeper here and grab some common human experience. And by all means, swing by and see me next week if you're struggling with that a little bit. But I think you'll be able to do it once you think about the themes of the text and how human beings can relate to those themes, and ninth graders in particular. I think you'll be all right. Um, so scrolling down here. Okay, so here you're jumping right into the digital presentation piece, which hops over the human experience and it hops over the meaningfulness of the text right into the digital presentation, which is the objective. So in one sense, that's kind of good because you've made it very clear to the students what it is that you're going to have them doing. And they're not, I think freshmen in 2015 are going to be familiar with PowerPoint and computers and all those things like that. So right here, right, so you're going over digital presentation, has text, has pictures. Right here, a digital presentation can tell you exactly what the presenter wants to say in a more concise way. All right, I'm going to pick on you just the tiniest bit here, okay? I don't know if you've taken any classes with Jerry's husband, Peter, but he helps edit my writing often, and he loves to remind me, no, inanimate nouns cannot do anything. So a digital presentation cannot tell. A digital presentation exists. A presenter tells. The creator of a presentation can tell. And so I want you to take the focus off of the digital presentation and onto the group itself, the speakers, the students in your classroom. Because it's the students in your classroom that can tell you exactly what they want it to say. The digital presentation exists for enhancement purposes, okay? So I'm going to have you flip-flop that around. And what you directly say to the kids, the digital presentation, helps the listener understand the presentation. But you're doing a lot of talking at the students here, and I want you to work back and forth with them in a more question and answer format. Especially because kids are going to be, they know about computer presentations. Here's a scary thing. They know about them. They probably don't know how to do them well, right? But go ahead and ask the students then, right? So, the person who creates a digital presentation can use the presentation to really enhance their message. It's still a presentation. You still have to carefully choose your words. But how is it that you think a digital presentation can enhance the message? Throw it out to the students. Get them engaged in thinking about why digital presentation, how digital presentation, criteria for good digital presentation, such that, it's not so flashy that it distracts, that the pictures are on topic, that there's not too much text on a slide because, if you have 50 words on a slide, everyone's going to ignore the speaker and simply read the slide. And in that sense, a digital presentation is not more concise. Okay, so I want you to have some more back and forth with the students here and access some of their background knowledge. Okay? Then you say you're going to have them work on small groups to make their own presentation about a topic in the color purple. I'm going to pick on you again about this specific word right there. Not a topic, a background topic, right? So you're going to talk about building background knowledge or building context or something like that. Because the kids are all going to go, well, we haven't read the book. Well, right, we're preparing to read the book, okay? Your check for understanding is well done right here. Sorry, that got a little crazy with my mouse there. And then you walk them through your example of a PowerPoint presentation that you put them together. Instead of walking them through the PowerPoint presentation and telling them, here's what the color purple is about, you've lost focus of your evidence outcome. Okay, the purpose of this lesson plan, according to your evidence outcome, is to teach students how to effectively use digital presentations to really enhance their messages. All right, so be asking them questions. What happens when I put, so Here. So I put a clip in my PowerPoint presentation. What happens when you put video clips in there? Oh, we watch the clip, we understand, we get interested. Okay, good. So let's write down some criteria for including video clips, and then maybe some reasons why video clips might not be so great. They distract the audience from the speaker, you cut it off at an interesting point and they get irritated with you, things like that. Okay? And then right here, okay? Then you have a still picture. And this is great because you put the still picture up and then you ask students, okay, why would we put a still picture in a presentation? Oh, it can demonstrate emotion so that you don't have to describe emotion. It can do this, it can do that. Great, why would a visual be a bad idea in a presentation, right? Why would it not fit? Well, if you weren't showing something emotional or something complex, maybe you wouldn't need a picture. It's easier to just say it. Excellent, so you're making a little, pros and cons list for having, still pictures. All right, so in this way, bear with me while I scroll for a sec. In this way, what you're doing is giving students the skills that they need to make strategic use of digital media, to enhance the understanding of their findings, okay? So I really want you to rework this lesson plan so that by the time you get here, hold on, let me show you. One sec. Okay, so by the time you get here, assigning groups and giving them topics, what you're asking the students to do with these topics and what your check for understanding is going to be is, all right, so every group, regardless of whether you're doing the color purple, brief American history, race, American South, things like that, what are your criteria for a presentation? Oh, so we know we can have no more than one video clip, but we don't have to. Still pictures are good if we need to show something emotion or some kind of visual imagery that's not, it's not common. What would be a good example, right, is like people standing in some of those benefit lines in the 1930s, during the Great Depression. That's not something we see all the time, so it's a good picture to have, right? All right, what's your criteria for slides? No more than 7 words per slide, and it should function like an outline. Great. So that way students know what they're doing, how they're doing it, and why they're doing it. Okay, I hope some of that makes sense. And by all means, like I said, swing by my office next week if you want to talk a little bit more about this. But you've got some of the components there. I just want you to really tighten this up and think about why and how your students need to do these things and how you're going to teach them to make those strategic presentations. Okay, all right, thanks.